led by the top couple. They take hands and gallop or chasse down the set. You see the sideways movement? Facing partners. Chasse back to the top. Watch that to the music. Ready? And down, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and back for the same length of time. Now here's a figure we know already, the cast off. The top couple turn away, lead down to the bottom, make an arch, everyone else comes through the arch together to a new place, and stop there. Everybody makes a tunnel, except the bottom couple. In our version, the boy comes up under the tunnel, and the girl goes down under the tunnel. And everyone swing your partner. And end up on your own side, ready to start the dance all over again with a new top couple.
Folk Dance Part 2 next week will be at the earlier time of 10 o'clock here on BBC Two.
You don't get BBC News 24 then, eh? Any of them? BBC 3, BBC 4. What?
There are 8 BBC channels available with others on cable and satellite, but now you can also get them on Freeview, a new package of 30 channels.
Sister, you can get Freeview with a TV adapter for around £99. One-off payment, no contract.
Here, I'll give you the number. They'll send you a lovely leaflet. 08700 10 10 10. No, love. You've got to phone the number first. Oh.
My perfect summer day has to be with the girls. Dressed to impress. Shades on and champagne flowing. Having a flutter and checking out the talent. It's no wonder they call it the nation's finest 5 days. Royal Ascot starts tomorrow at 1:45 on BBC One and BBC Radio 5 Live.
This is BBC Two, now Working Lunch with Adam Shaw.
Good afternoon, welcome to Working Lunch. I'm Adam Shaw. Cordiant shares are suspended as a bid battle develops for the advertising company, and twins lose out in the tax credit game.
There's an extra £500 for new babies, but nothing more than that if you have twins.
A clampdown on pyramid selling,
The government is to outlaw get-rich-quick schemes, where only money and no goods or services change hands.
And financial advice for students, how to make sure you're going in the right direction when planning for life in the workplace. Now, talk about two major takeover deals are dominating the market today, so we wanted to bring you the live share prices from the city. Unfortunately, this machine is completely broken. I think there is a man behind there trying to fix it now. Yes, how's it going? It's not going very well. Meanwhile, could you pretend to be a rabbit or imitate the James Bond title sequence whilst I go on about other things? The advertising company, WPP, has improved its offer for the troubled advertising company, Cordiant Communications. And the travel company, Thomas Cook, has denied a report that it is in merger talks with the Swiss travel company QONI. Now, despite all of that, the markets are still dropping. Again, the best news is that they've not lost very much. Cordiant shares have been suspended at the request of the company so it can work out what's going on. In fact, so investors, I suppose, can work out what's going on. They've had a terrible performance recently. WPP shares have risen strongly since April. If there was a graph, it would sort of shoot up like that. They've still lost over 22 months over the past 12 months or so. So a very strong rise. I'm pretending it's there. Recently, but over the year, it's actually down around 22%. They are now about 4.5 pence Cordiant shares. FTSE 100 has had a strong rise up since mid-March, although it's still much lower again than this time last year. But if we had a look at the best performing shares over the past 12 months, what you'd find very interesting things developing here over the sort of, I suppose, medium and long-term perspective. Two mobile telephone companies, about the best performing big share you could have bought over the past 12 months. MMO2 up 50% over the past year. Vodafone, one of our biggest shares there is, that's risen by a third. Just over a third, 34% in the past 12 months. On the other hand, we've had enormously well-established companies like BAE Systems, Reuters, ICI. Those three companies are some of the worst performing FTSE 100 companies, the worst of which is down around 50% over the past year. Cable and wireless today, not doing well. They're going to sell bonds which are convertible into new shares, a sort of technical move, but if there are going to be more shares, it will tend to depress the price of the individual share price. And indeed, Cable and Wireless down 5 3/4 pence a few moments ago at 98 3/4 pence. A few company results out today. It's not going to be a big week for company results anyway, and the big ones are today. Express Dairies reported a full year pre-tax, pre-exceptional profit, £28.4 million. A stonking rise, 23.4% up, final dividend 0.6 pence, and Majestic Wine, drink of another kind entirely, reported pre-tax, pre-exceptional profits of 8.34 million. Again, a very good rise, 37.8% up on the year. Final dividend is 8 pence. And let me just tell you those share prices. Express Dairies, again, just a few moments ago, 34.5 pence, up just 1 penny. Majestic Wines, dead on £6 a few moments ago, and that's up 9 pence. The FTSE 100, that again, a few moments ago, oh, actually, that's up 4.7 points, 4,138.8. It was actually sliding down earlier on in the day. So a small rise, but nothing to get too excited about. Something to get excited about, though, is Simon. Tax credits. Parents of twins are complaining that the extra money paid for a new baby is not actually increased if you have twins. It's part of this child tax credit, which was brought in at the beginning of April. A campaign is being launched to try to get the rules changed. Simon's been finding out more. Just how the payments work here, then?
Well, my understanding of this is that it'll affect people who are in the higher income bracket of those receiving the new child tax credit. So above £20,000 as a household income, and you qualify up to about £58,000 as a household income, you might receive £545 a year in child tax credit. And then if you had a baby... If you had a baby at all, right. Then you would receive another £545 in the first year. Right. So that's an extra bonus to help with bringing up the child. Now, if you're in a lower income bracket, you'd get more money for each child that you get. So you would be getting more for each child. You don't get that if you're in the higher bracket. But if you have twins, that extra baby element, the 545, pounds a year doesn't increase. If you have twins or if you have triplets, you still get the one extra baby element, that bonus of £545 in the year. It wouldn't have so much of an impact, I suppose, you could argue, for families in the lower bracket, because they would be getting more for each child anyway. But if you're in that higher bracket, you'd be missing out on, say, a doubling or a tripling in that baby element. And campaign groups like the Twins and Multiple Births Association have suddenly discovered this and are launching a campaign now to try and get what they call a loophole changed. And I spoke to Helen Forbes over the telephone just a few moments ago to get her view on the situation.
Families that have contacted me are obviously understandably very grieved by the situation when they've discovered, when they've finally got their child tax credit information back, that they're being shortchanged. If you have 2 or 3 babies at once, then the cost is far more than having your children spread across a number of years. If you have triplets, you've got to buy 3 cots, 3 high chairs, 3 car seats all in one go with no option of handing down equipment. It's hugely more expensive.
Let me just get this right. If you had 2 children separately a year apart, you'd get 2 lots of tax credit, but if you have them at the same time, you're stuffed, you won't get that extra money. Have I understood that?
You've understood it right. For instance, if you had a baby last week, as I did,
congratulations,
then you'd get double the money for the year to come. And then if you had another baby then, you'd get double the money for that next year. But if you have twins now, you only get 1 extra baby element. Okay. So you miss out on the next year's payment.
You haven't had twins, have you?
No.
No, but this is close to your heart nonetheless. Another tax credit, Lee from Portsmouth. He's receiving tax credit payments, but he's still losing out, he thinks, because he's having to pay more maintenance for a child from the previous relationship he had. Wants to know, does that make sense?
Well, this is a very interesting one, this, and I think people who are involved with the Child Support Agency should take notice, very briefly, because the cases are all very individual, the way the Child Support Agency makes its assessments. But they do include the new tax credits in calculating your income, and that will affect, if you're, for instance, a parent who's gone on to a new family and paying maintenance, it'll affect the maintenance that you pay. And he says, Lee, that he's actually worse off now because of having applied for the new tax credits. It's something you need to take into account and try and calculate in advance.
Okay, lovely. Congratulations on the new child.
Thank you very much.
Is it great being a new father?
Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, okay, go back to sleep if you need it. The other business news now, quick look at some of it. I'm tangled up in my microphone. Manchester United is being investigated by the Financial Services Authority over the way it announced David Beckham was leaving the club. As a public company, news about its assets, and of course Beckham is a very valuable asset, they should have been made through the stock exchange, but what happened was instead they released that news to a news agency. Following the announcement, United shares rose by nearly 5%. Now the FSA is said to be making preliminary inquiries to see if there are grounds for a major investigation. Those who live in London probably won't be surprised to hear it's the most expensive city in the European Union. In fact, it's the 7th dearest city in the world. A survey found the cost of living in London is bumped up by expensive housing and transport, the duty on alcohol and tobacco. Not very surprising at all, is it? Tokyo was the most expensive city of all. For a cheap time, head for Asuncion in Paraguay, although getting there is a bit expensive, so it might not be cheap anyway. And if you're planning that much-needed holiday, a regular look now at what the pound will get you. These are the tourist rates. Against the euro, 136, US dollar, 161, the Danish kroner, just over that 10 mark, the Maltese lira, 0.58. Today's guest currency, the Australian dollar, of which you will get 2.38. You may have noticed that Virginia is Australian. Apparently she's planning a trip home to Tasmania, which is part of Australia, but an island off the mainland. There's a lot of personal news today, isn't it? Simon's baby, Virginia off on holiday. Virginia is actually going home to freezing weather and snow, so the exchange rate is the least of anyone's complaints if you're going off to Australia at the moment. Talking of which, 2 viewers have already been to Australia. They are Mr. and Mrs. Oh, there they are, Mr. and Mrs. Lambie, who took their T-shirts with them. Here they are with what they claim is the original Crocodile Dundee. George Craig on Green Island, on the Great Barrier Reef in North Queensland. And we're giving us another one. Here they are with what they say is 50% of the population of Cook. Let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at that there. Oh, no. That isn't 50% of the population of Cook. Can we see it? Just tell me if you can or not. Never mind. All right, I'll tell you about this chap, glorious as he is, Simon Hoban, who's just won the Monthayes Boys Epi, which sounds rather painful. In fact, he seems to have been told to wear the shirt by his teacher, Mr. Morehouse. So he won it, and Had to wear our terrible T-shirt. Poor lad, anyway. Thanks very much. Keep those T-shirts coming. Now, the government is to crack down on stress at work, and the Health and Safety Executive has issued a standard by which you can measure how stressed you are. More than 13 million working days are lost every year in the UK because of stress, according to the Health and Safety Executive. Now, their stress test is a bit like a highway code for employees. For you to work within acceptable limits of stress, they say that between 65 and 85% of employees have to agree the following: that they can cope with the demands of the job, they have adequate control over how they do their job, they understand their role and responsibilities, they get adequate support, their relationships with bosses and colleagues are positive, long list this, and they are consulted about any organisational changes. Well, lawyers say it's a significant step forward, but they deny that this will lead to an increase in so-called stress claims.
I suspect solicitors will have more inquiries, but the courts have actually taken quite a cautious approach when finding stress, and only in very extreme cases have they actually been prepared to find in favour of individuals. For instance, the leading case involving a Mr. Thompson, he actually had to have 2 nervous breakdowns before the courts were prepared to award compensation to the person on the basis that it was reasonably foreseeable after the first nervous breakdown that he might have had a second one, and the employer didn't do enough. So I think it will be helpful, and I think we'll get more inquiries, it'll raise awareness, but I don't think it'll actually cause an explosion of stress cases.
Well, the Health and Safety Executive asked their own psychologist to help draw up the 6 standards, and joining me is Steve Lee, one of those psychologists, right?
Good afternoon.
It's not so much actually about the actual levels of stress, is it? It's more about how you can control over the stress seems to make it all more acceptable, is that right?
That's right, yeah. I mean, the first thing I should say is we're not actually placing any more legal duties or requirements on employers by testing the standards at the moment. But yeah, the 2 things we're really interested in. We're interested in getting workload right, demands at work right, control at work right, and critically the amount of support that organisations give to their employees has been shown to have a protective effect against stress.
I mean, you make that point, but the expectation is that this will be the beginning of more legal constraints on companies, say that if you don't meet these criteria, this is a basis on which employees could sue you.
Well, that's not our intention. Our intention is for employers to work with their employees to tackle work-related stress at source. We know that if you tackle stress at source, not only is it going to benefit your organisation in terms of health and safety, but also in terms of business performance. There's a clear link between tackling stress and business performance.
The problem, reading through those tests, they seem to look at just the average, what people on average think, and yet I might be very stressed at work, and you might say, well, hey, that's just because he can't handle the stress, and therefore we wouldn't meet those criteria. It doesn't make any difference to me. I'd be very stressed still.
Well, we'd encourage organisations, again, to have a culture where you wouldn't be afraid of going up to your employer and saying, look, I'm stressed at work, or I can't cope with this particular pressure. What we're looking for is much more specificity in developing the standards. So breaking down stress, because it means different things to different people. We're interested in those elements of work design that, if not properly managed, can go on to lead to an ill health outcome.
But what I'm saying is that the system you seem to have developed is one which looks at averages. You still have the situation, surely, where you could find individual members of the workplace very stressed, and yet the company would pass these criteria because majority of people say, well, I think it's okay.
No, the standards are in 2 parts. The first part is that the majority of employees are content with the way work is organised, but critically we also say that systems are in place to deal with any individual concerns.
Okay. So sometimes it is surely the person's fault. Some people don't handle stress well and the job is stressful.
I would argue probably not. No, I think it's the way that jobs are designed that causes people stress or can cause them distress at work. I think most people can cope with the jobs that they've been recruited into. It just may be that some work characteristics aren't being managed particularly well at this moment in time, and something needs to happen in the short or medium or long term to improve that. It's good for the person, good for the business.
So you don't actually think the jobs are stressful? It's the way they're managed?
Stress have got a potential to be stressful, yes, but it's the way they're managed, and it's the way that employees have a say over the way the work's carried out.
So how can you spot a stressed worker? Is it the Herbert Long sort of the twitching?
Well, there's a variety. I mean, different people respond in different ways. Some people may well do that at work.
But you're a psychologist. What are the key sort of stressful signs to look out for?
I couldn't say because they're different responses. Some people could go home and take on negative health behaviours. They could drink too much, smoke too much. Other people at work could demonstrate, they could be short-tempered at work, which is out of character. So there's a variety of ways of looking at it.
Do you think people are getting more stressed? Are we complaining about stress more, and actually people were more stressed before?
I think people are more in tune with what stress means, and I think they're more in tune with...
Which is a sort of nice way of saying they're complaining about it more, is it?
I think they've got voice in organisation now, and I think they just want to be healthy and at work and do the best job that they can.
Right. Do I look calm or stressed to you?
You do look very calm.
Really?
Yes.
You see, I'm not at all. I'm incredibly stressed. But everyone's shouting at me in my ear, and I've no idea what's going on. But anyway, thank you very much
No problem.
indeed. A bit more business news now. Here's a sign that homes are far too expensive for many people. 6 months ago, 21% of house sales were to first-time buyers. That figure has now fallen to just 14%, the lowest since the National Association of Estate Agents started keeping tally on this just 2 years ago. However, every cloud's got a silver lining, of course, and while house sales are flat, many agents are reporting a boom in rentals. BT and Yahoo have joined forces to offer a new broadband service that will be called BT Yahoo Broadband. Wonder how much they paid for that. Obvious, really. Part of BT's strategy to increase its current 1 million broadband customers to 5 million by the year 2006. The service is going to be launched in September. It will cost £29.99 a month, a couple of pounds more than the main rivals AOL and FreeServe. The Great British Cup of Tea is on the decline. We still manage, though, 1,000 cuppers each a year. Only the Turkish drink more than us, but that's down quite a bit over the last 5 years. A study by Data Monitor suggests hotter weather could be to blame. We're drinking more iced tea, and sales of fruit and herbal teas are up by nearly 50%. In a few weeks, tens of thousands of students will be leaving university to enter the world of work. Of course, it can be daunting enough, but it also throws up plenty of financial posers. Ian Jolly reports.
An estimated 1 million people are in full-time education in the UK. For those going to work for the first time, it can be vastly different from a life of hard study and equally hard socialising. And while there's the salary to look forward to, the average graduate wage is £20,000, coping with money can be a new experience for many. The biggest problem for most graduates is their student loan. Last year, the average debt on leaving university was £11,000. This year, that's expected to rise to £12,500. However, the interest rate on repayments is currently a very reasonable 1.3%. But that's not the only issue. The problems workers take for granted are often thrust upon graduates all at once.
My name is Michael O'Neill. I'm a student at Oxford University. I'm soon to be graduating and starting a job in the city. I'm going to be earning a fair salary, but I've got a large student loan to pay off. I don't know what to do about buying a house or renting a house, and I haven't got a clue where to start with the pension, so I thought the working lunch team would be the right people to ask.
Never once to turn down a request for help, we invited independent financial advisor Amanda Barnett to meet up with Michael.
I've got a huge student loan, £11,500. I've got quite a well-paid job. Am I best to pay it off as quickly as possible, or should I just pay it off as and when it's demanded?
The good thing about the student loan is, yes, it might seem an enormous sum of money to you at the moment, but the interest rate that they charge you on it is preferential.
Okay.
And you won't get borrowing at that sort of rate anywhere else, really. So to make the payments as requested is fine, and you know that's going to help you while you're settling in to your job and knowing what your budget's going to be, what the cost of living is going to be. It's not going to be too onerous meeting those loan commitments immediately. So I wouldn't consider rushing straight to pay additional sums off. Pay it as it goes and see how it's going for you.
Okay.
And as I say, with that interest rate, you know, that is a very good rate.
At the moment, buying a pension seems to be a bit of a minefield. Am I best to leave it for a while, or should I sort of dive straight in and start saving?
Well, I appreciate that retirement may seem a long way off for you at the moment, but the sooner you start building some kind of fund towards retirement, the better. The options are to wait and let the government look after you in retirement, which most of us feel a little bit uncomfortable about at the moment. And it depends also what pension schemes you've got available to you with your employer. For instance, if they're going to make a pension scheme available to you and they're going to put contributions in for you, that's an additional perk that you're having.
Would I be best off to put money in an ISA and just save money that way, or is a pension really that much of a good idea?
You can put money into an ISA, but the advantage with the pension is that the government will actually contribute 22 pence in the pound to match your contributions because you're getting tax relief on it. And as you become a higher rate taxpayer, you actually get 40% tax relief on the contributions. So that's an added incentive, and that's as legislation stands at the present time. The other thing though to think about with the pensions, which you haven't got with the ISAs, is that you can't get your hands on the money in your pension fund until you're age 50, as the legislation stands at the moment, and then you can only take 25% of your fund out as tax-free cash.
Is it going to be best for me to buy a house and get a big mortgage, or would it be best to rent a house for a while and sort of leave that money as sort of dead money, perhaps?
Whilst I understand what you're saying about it being dead money renting, I think probably for at least the first 6 months it's a good way to find your feet, where you're living, see what your expenses are going to be and what you could afford mortgage-wise. And also in the area that you're going to be in, the market is quite unstable at the moment. That gives you a chance to find out what's happening. If you're in a different part of the country, circumstances could be different. The prices are still in some places, good value for money to buy a house, and yes, it's much more obvious that it's a waste of money to be renting.
I've seen in the press recently that some students have resorted to making themselves bankrupt, considering how easy it is meant to be to get out of it afterwards. Is that a good idea or not?
I would say not. Obviously, everybody's circumstances are individual, but the problem is of making yourself bankrupt, it's affecting your financial future for a few years to come. The operation of a bank account, whether you can get credit cards. You were talking about a mortgage. You're not going to be able to get a mortgage if you've been made bankrupt fairly recently. And also, it may even affect you with job applications in certain industries. They won't take you on if you've been made bankrupt. But if a student is in severe financial trouble and they are thinking of as an option, then certainly go and get some advice. For example, go and see a debt counsellor at the Citizens Advice Bureau. That would be a good place to start, but I wouldn't recommend it in your situation.
Students who want advice like Amanda's might find it doesn't cost the earth. IFA Promotions is offering a free initial consultancy. You can download a voucher from its website. In the meantime, some useful tips. Pay off debts with the highest interest rates first. Make a budget and stick to it. Ask your bank if they do a graduate package. And get saving. It's never too early to start.
Good advice from me and Jolly. Now, top telly stars and minor members of the royal family, all being taken in by them. They're get-rich-quick investment schemes that promise fantastic returns on your money. Now the government wants to outlaw them. Virginia's here. Let's just go over what these schemes are.
Right, so there are two things here. There's money circulation schemes. Let's call them that because that's very specific, where only money is circulating. We're not talking about schemes where people are selling diet aids, right. Filters for water, all sorts of things, cleaning products.
Yeah.
That's network marketing, and people refer to that sometimes as pyramid selling. But what we're really talking about is where only the money changes hands. To give you an example, here we have our lovely Sally Graphic, who has, she's got 8 friends to give her £3,000. She's a very persuasive woman, and they usually are. And so this is what happens. She gets £24,000, which is all very well. She's happy. But then for the next layer to work, clearly you need 64 people, and then 512 at the next layer. And so it goes down to the 5th layer. You have over 134 million people needed to sustain this pyramid. And then if you take that down to the 10th layer, you're talking about an astronomical number of people, over 1 billion people needed to sustain that scheme. So clearly the maths do not add up. You're talking about needing something the size of China. So if you think one of your friends comes to you and says, why don't you be in my scheme, think to yourself 10 levels down the line you need something like the population of China to keep it going.
So it's the early participants do make money from this. It's when you get in a bit later on that you're just scuppered, aren't you?
Exactly, and that's when it collapses.
So what is illegal at the moment then? Are these schemes illegal?
Well, at the moment they fall between 3 departments. The FSA doesn't want to know, the Department of Culture doesn't want to know yet, but it will do, and also the DTI says they will issue guidelines from which we got this definition. What is illegal? Trading schemes become illegitimate and illegal if the sole purpose of the scheme is to make money by recruiting other participants rather than trading in goods or services. Right. So at the moment, further to that, it's illegal to persuade someone to part with their money and to take the money. But in future, it will only be illegal to start it up and to operate the scheme. If you're a victim of the scheme and you've lost money, you'll be able to come forward and say, I have lost money, and then initiate the proceedings.
Right. So in fact, in future, even if you're even if you're actually trying to sell it onto other people, you can claim to be a victim of it.
Yes, you can. So if you've lost money, that you can claim that you were hard done by, and then you can step forward. I think that's one of the things that's going to make the difference. More people will come forward. The business, as I said to Tony Allen from Trading Standards, I said to him, do you think this system is going to work? And he said, well, it's a very big mountain to climb. And I think he was sceptical, but this is what he said.
Whatever legislation the government comes up with, it's going to have to be clamping down hard on the people who run these schemes where they can make millions and millions of pounds. So you've got to have strong fines and strong enforcement to go with that, which means you've got to resource trading standards departments, you've got to provide them with the necessary powers to be able to actually find the people at the top. Because one of the big problems we have is, of course, that by the time we find out about these schemes, the people at the top have already moved on to a new set of victims.
It talks about victims. What do you do if you think you're a victim?
Right, well, if you are a victim, go and have a look at the DTI's website, and that gives you a list of things to look for to see if there's anything you can actually do about it. And that website should be flashing across our screen, which is www.dti.gov.uk/CCP. And you'll find a list of things to look for. Now, that's very quite specific, actually. The advertising for these schemes has to be right, and then you have to have a contract. So it's worth looking at the finer points of that. And the interesting things, for instance, you can't be charged more than £200 in your first week of signing up for one of these schemes. So that's something to point out to the people who are trying to get £3,000 out of you. And secondly, you have to have a 14-day cooling off period, which everybody is pretty much entitled to. So that's two things. Ultimately, though, Adam, it has to be said that if you do find yourself in one of these schemes, the only recourse you really have is to go to the citizens' advice people, who will be very sympathetic, but they can't do anything about it. No one has ever been prosecuted for running one of these schemes.
Okay, which isn't very good news at all, is it?
No.
You're off to Australia. Have you bought your currency yet?
I haven't, Adam. I'm hoping that the dollar just somehow weakens a little bit further before I get on the plane.
Okay. Since we're talking about everybody's family on the programme, it's your dad's birthday, isn't it?
Yes,
That's why you're
75,
going.
bless him.
He won't be watching, of course, but anyway, never mind. Don't forget any useful numbers, addresses, all of that we've mentioned on the programme. They can be found on our CFAX page, and you find that by going to BBC Two, and it's CFAX page 238. Lots of details, not just about this programme, of course, stuff we've done in previous programmes, all on CFAX page 238. If you want more details, also you can have a look at our website, which is all the W's. Let's have a look at that. allthews.bbc.co.uk/working lunch. And again, lots of stuff, not just about this programme, but all the previous ones as well. Consuming Issues on Friday. We'll be answering your questions about endowments, a hugely difficult area. I know lots of people are very scared about it and lost lots of money out on it. So if you've got any fears, worries or any experiences, do get in touch at the regular email address as well. Or write to us, Working Lunch, room 4220, BBC TV Centre, London W12 7RJ. Fax us on 020 8576 8799. Have a great Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Our hero is a little boy, born in a time of revolution. His mum and dad are old Catholics in a Protestant police state. The little boy sees his father ruined. He gets an older woman pregnant and ends up as a teenage father, and then he simply vanishes. And when he turns up 10 years later, he's the greatest thing anybody has ever seen.
Michael Wood Goes in Search of Shakespeare, coming soon on BBC Two.
Rethink Saturday nights. And is there going to be a death in this book?
A horrible, horrible.
A horrible death of a significant figure?
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling, The Interview, Thursday at 7:30 on BBC Two.
Are we allowed to look inside it?
Now on BBC Two, The Magic Key, but beware of the shark.
When you ask a question, then it's time to go off on an adventure as the key starts to glow. Where are we going? Just come along and see. Join our adventure, having fun with the magic key. We'll play around the planets, we'll sail the seven seas with floppy capabilities. the magic key. It's an adventure, having fun with the magic key.
Today, we're talking about the places where stories happen. For instance, your story could take place in a deep, dark forest. Or you could have an adventure in outer space. Your story could even happen in an ordinary old house, like this. The setting you choose will make a difference to what happens in the story. You didn't actually wear this on stage, did you, Dad?
People said I was a very good banana.
Perfect casting.
What's these?
They're costumes for a show we did ages ago.
What was it about?
Let me think.
There were these 3 pieces of fruit.
Yes, but what happened to them?
Sorry, Kipper. I can't remember.
Chip, can you make up a story for me about the fruit? I'll do it. I'm good at making up stories.
No, I'm doing it. Once upon a time, there were 3 pieces of fruit, and they lived in a fridge.
You can't keep bananas in a fridge.
Okay, they lived in a fruit bowl.
Boring.
All right then. A tropical island in the sun.
Oh yes, that's a great place to put fruit.
I can think of some good settings for stories too. For example, this could be a jungle. You can have all sorts of adventures in a jungle. Or this tree could be the place where pirates have buried their treasure. Yo-ho-ho! Now, what could my kennel be? It could be a magical cave for a story about some trolls. But even if it's just a kennel, it's still a good setting for a story about a dog going to sleep.
Come on, Chip, tell me the fruit story.
Well, once upon a time, there were 3 fruits. A banana, a pineapple, and an orange. And they lived on a tropical island in the sun.
Anyone want to play football? Shush, Biff. Chip is making up a story.
One morning, they were having breakfast
with an alien in a spaceship. This story is about a tropical island, not space.
They were having breakfast when they met an acrobat.
No, we're not at the circus.
The fruit were having breakfast when
they were chased by a shark.
Oh no, not a shark!
Biff, this story doesn't happen underwater.
Why are you putting the wrong things in my story?
I wish she wouldn't. I'm scared of sharks. Uh-oh, where are we off to this time?
This must be a magical place.
Yes, I can't usually breathe underwater. What's that? Hello.
Hi, this is fun.
No, it's not.
It's your fault. Why did you have to bring us here of all places?
They were chased by a shark. Really?
Yes, really! Ow! We've got to get out of here! I don't like sharks! I should never have put one into Chip's story. Where is Chip? He's not here! And neither's Floppy! Wrong place you put me into!
well-buried treasure.
You look as if you belong in a circus.
It is true! Ah, my beloved circus! Why am I stuck here? It is a tragedy, a disaster!
When I was making up a story for Kipper, Biff put you all in the wrong setting.
Where is this Biff?
Well, I don't know exactly.
We must find her! She must send us all home now!
Oh, yes.
Can I just see about this treasure first?
We've got to find Chip and Floppy. I hope they're all right.
Oh, please tell me what it's like on Planet 2. Pinky and orange. Only oopleg-loopless. Oopleg-loop. Oh, what are they? Anoop's oopleg-loopless. Spotty, soft and loopy. I see Anoop sitting on oopleg-loopless, singing. Sky green. Shine moon every day. Anoop want home to be. Goodbye.
That's strange. Come on, Kipper. We've got to find the others.
What about the shark?
We'll have to risk it. You and Teddy swim close to me.
There's something here. I just know it.
I am Fernando Finelli of the Flying Trapeze. I will fly back to the circus.
But it's too dangerous out there.
Up, up, and away! And you, I suppose, are Beef. You brought me here. You must send me back.
I would if I could.
What's it like being in the circus?
The big top is full of color and music. There are red and blue flags all around the circus ring. High above the crowds is my flying trapeze. I can see myself now, swinging backwards and forwards, higher and higher. Goodbye!
Fernando's gone.
Anoop went away like that too.
You're right, Kipper. And Anoop and Fernando were imagining their home. That's what got them back there.
Come on then, help us do the same.
Okay. Tell us what it's like on your tropical island.
Hot.
Very hot.
Yes, but what does it look like? You've got to see it in your imagination.
Well, there's a very nice beach.
And palm trees. And what else is on the beach?
Sun lounges. A big parasol.
Oh yes, I can see us now. Sunbathing in our sun hats. It's really hot.
They did it! Phew! Now everyone's back in their proper setting.
I've got it. It's definitely bone-shaped. Oh, I can't eat that.
Oh no! Hey, the key's glowing.
We're going.
Phew! Just in time.
The banana, the orange and the pineapple were all having breakfast when there was a knock on the door.
It was their friend, Bunch of Grapes.
Come and listen to our fruit story. Where did that teeny old bottle come from, Biff?
Actually, it was found at the bottom of the sea.
After a lot of digging, which was a total waste of time.
Seas and bottles don't belong in our fruit story.
Don't worry, Kipper. I'll never mix things up like that again. I promise. Once upon a time, there were a group of children who went on an amazing journey. First, they went on a train. To the seaside! They went on a boat trip, but unfortunately...
The boat sank in a terrible storm.
Help! Shipwreck! Teddy overboard!
And the children were washed up on a strange island. Oh, where dinosaurs lived. The children were frightened, so...
They ran into a cave. Where they found a spaceship. The spaceship took off. And landed
on the planet Oop! Then the spaceship took them. Teddy's turn now. All the way home.
The end.
The end.
And the end.
When you ask a question, then it's time to go off on an adventure as the key starts to glow. We'll play around the planets, we'll sail the seven seas. With Floppy, Kipper, Biff and Chip, we'll go with the magic key. With Wolf and Wilma and their friends, we'll solve the mystery. It's an adventure, having fun with the magic key.
The BBC Primary Catalogue 2003 to 2004 gives details of television, radio, websites and resources for the whole year. It's available free to schools by phoning 08700 100 321. Now on BBC Two, join Numberbird on a search for the welly-wearing monster.
More or less, count your fingers, have a guess. More or less, find out if there's more or less. I eat one sweet, you eat two. Who ends up with one too few? You climb 5 steps, I climb 3. How many steps from you to me? You sleep 5 hours, I sleep 8. Who sleeps longer and gets up late? More or less, count your fingers, have a guess. More or less, find out if there's more or less. Hello again and welcome to Number Time. Today we'll be looking at 2 less.
welcome to Number Time News. I'm Rebecca Testament, and today I've come down to much squelching in the marsh to meet Mr. Noah, who's built this incredible ark. Hello, Noah.
Oh, hello, Rebecca.
It's really good to see your ark. And who is this?
This is my son, Ham. He looks after all the creatures for me. Oh, dear, Ham, go and wash down the elephants, will you?
Elephants? So you have elephants?
Oh, yes. 2 of them. You see, at the moment, we have just 6 creatures altogether. Here, look at my chart. You see, 2 elephants, 2 lions, and 2 doves.
I say, I'd really like to see your elephants if I could.
Oh, of course. Ham is washing them down just at the moment. What is it, Ham? The elephants have gone, both of them. What, they felt seasick? But we haven't set sail yet. Oh, I'm sorry, but the elephants appear to have gone for the moment.
I see, so now you only have 4 creatures left then?
I do?
Yes, you had 6, but now the 2 elephants have gone, you've got 2 fewer than you had before.
Oh, yes. From 6 down to only 4. Never mind. They'll be back once the rain gets worse. I'll show you my lions, shall I?
Oh, yes, please.
Oh, Ham, don't say the lions have gone as well, have they? Oh, this is ridiculous. They didn't want to stay because the elephants have gone. We still have the doves, don't we?
So now you only have the 2 birds left?
Well, it looks like it. From 4, now that the lions have gone, down to only 2. Thank goodness for that. At least they're here. Oh, no.
So the good news is, the world is not going to see a great flood after all. The bad news is, Mr. Noah now has this huge empty boat on his hands. So it's me, Rebecca Testament, at Noah saying goodbye for now.
Counting numbers in the desert sand.
And now, for our thrilling Western cereal, El Nombre.
Mama, what are you making for tea today?
Little Juan, I thought I would make you a special pie. A melon surprise.
A melon surprise? Wow!
And I think I have everything here to make melon surprise, except for 2 melons.
That's a surprise. What, Tanto? We go get the melons and surprise Mama? What a good idea. Come on. Senor Manuel! Senor Manuel!
What is it, little Juan? What do you want?
Mama is making a melon surprise, and so Tanto and I want to surprise her with 2 melons.
Oh, dear. That could be a problem. You see, I have to keep 2 melons for a special customer.
Oh, dear. Send for who? Oh, el nombre, what am I to do? Senor Manuel has to keep 2 melons for a special customer, and I need 2 for Mama's pie, her melon surprise.
It is not a problem. Now, how many melons are there?
4, el nombre?
4. You want 2, and Manuel wants to save 2.
True.
So, if Juan takes 2 melons away from the 4, Manuel will have 2 less.
Yes?
Leaving
2.
Fantastic! So 4, take away 2, leaves 2.
True. That will be 2 pesos.
2 pesos. Thank you, Senor Manuel. Come on, Tanto. We will go and have an ice cream. And then go home and surprise Mama. Oh, and thank you, El Nombre.
It's okay. Just remember, this is true. 4 take away 2 always leaves 2.
True.
Adios, amigos, and keep counting.
Just a toe, where will he stop?
If he moves 2 less to the end of his hop.
2 less than 10 is 8.
Test the toad.
2 less than 8 is 6.
Test the toad. Where will he stop?
2 less than 6 is woohoo! 4.
Test the toad. Where will he stop?
Roll up, win one of my lovely coconuts. 8 lovely coconuts to win. Roll up, 2 balls for 2 pence. Win one of my lovely coconuts. Roll up. Ah, step this way, madam, and win one of my 8 lovely coconuts. Only 2 pence for 2 goes.
Yes, all right, I'll have a go.
Ah, here we go. There you are. Throw as hard as you can.
Yeah.
It sometimes takes a bit of practice. Sorry.
Oh, I did it!
Beginner's luck.
Right.
Don't get upset if you don't win a second time. Beginner's luck, you see. Sorry.
Oh, I did it again! Give me 2 coconuts, please.
This is impossible.
Thank you.
I can't believe it here. Now, go away. Roll up. Win one of my lovely coconuts. 8 lovely coconuts to win.
Excuse me.
What is it?
Well, you haven't got 8 lovely coconuts.
Pardon?
You see, I won 2, so you have 2 less.
Okay. I had 8 coconuts. You won 2, so I have 2 less, leaving...
6.
6 lovely coconuts to win.
Can I have another go?
No.
Oh, please let me have another go.
Definitely not.
I promise not to try.
All right, but you mustn't try to win.
Oh, I won't.
I mean, you couldn't win again.
Oh, I did it again!
Oh, no.
I did it again! I don't believe it.
Here, please, go away. Roll up. 6 lovely coconuts to win. I had 6, I did. You won 2, so now I have 2 less than 6. 4. Right. Goodbye.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. 6 less 2 is 4. 4. 4 less 2 is 2. 2. 2 less 2 is 0! Alright, there you go.
And now, back to El Nombre.
Little Juan, where have you been?
Down the street, eating ice cream. And we have something for your melon surprise.
What is that?
Melons.
Now that is a surprise.
Why?
Because I already have two. Senor Manuel saved them especially for me.
What shall we do?
So, how many melons have you got, Mama?
4.
And how many do you need?
2.
So, little Juan, do you remember the answer?
Oh, yes. Just remember, this is true. 4 take away 2 always leaves 2.
Adios, amigos. And keep counting.
El nombre.
Apple tree, 6 juicy apples on the apple tree. That's 3 for you and 3 for me on the lovely old apple tree. But then the wind blows round and round and shakes 2 apples to the ground. So how many apples are left up in the tree? Apple tree, 4 juicy apples on the apple tree. That's 2 for you and 2 for me on the lovely old apple tree. But then the wind blows round and round and shakes 2 apples to the ground. So how many apples are left up in the tree? Apple tree, 2 juicy apples on the apple tree. That's 1 for you and 1 for me on the lovely old apple tree. But then the wind blows round and round and shakes 2 apples to the ground. So you have 1 and leave this 1 for me. Bye-bye. See you next number time.
You can get more information about the whole range of BBC programmes and websites for children aged from 1 to 11 in the BBC Together Guide. Call 08700 100 321 to get your copy.
Once upon a time, a man had to pay his TV licence. He took his dog for a walk, but that didn't help. Then he mowed the lawn, but that didn't help. Then he did a spot of painting, but that didn't help. Then he dialed 0800 328 2020. That helped. Don't put it off. Once you've paid for your TV licence by direct debit, that's it. End of story.
The perfect day for a picnic. Well, it would be if you're not Stan and Ollie. The first in a Laurel and Hardy double gets underway on BBC Two in 10 minutes. Just before that, use your loaf and take tips from those in the know.
Hello, I'm Ron, I'm a baker, and I'd like to welcome you to Trade Secrets.
Bread making is a really slow process. You have to wait a long time for the dough to rise. So why not heat the flour first? Place it into the microwave on full power for a minute. If you haven't got a microwave, just put it into the bottom of a saucepan over a low heat, give it a stir, just warm it through, and it really gives the bread a kick-start.
Fresh eggs, but how do we know they're really fresh? Easy. Put it in a bowl of water. Old eggs will float on the top. Really fresh eggs sink to the bottom. Obviously fresh.
To make good flavoured bread, you need a certain amount of humidity in the oven. This can be achieved by a container of any kind, put in the oven with some water at the time you set the bread. Keep the oven temperature a bit lower than usual, leave it in for longer, and you'll get a loaf with a good shiny crust and a beautiful flavour.
A quick one for you, this. After you've lined your pie, place to one side for about an hour and allow the pastry to dry and form a nice seal. When you put the filling in, you won't allow it to soak into the pastry and make your pie all nasty and soggy.
When you want to stone cherries, take a hairpin, bend the end, press it into a cork, and there you have your cherry stoner. It goes into the cherry, under the stone and out. Into the cherry, round the stone and out. As simple and as easy as that.
Have you ever had one of those horrible feelings when you wonder if you've put yeast into your dough? Here's how to check. Take a very small piece, drop it into some hot water, and if there's yeast in there, it will rise slowly to the surface.
Leftover dough, throw it away? No, I'll show you what to do. Make a really quick and easy bread. A naan bread, really simple. Get the dough really thin by rolling it out and then pulling it between your hands like that onto a baking tray, brushed with olive oil, and just place it under a really hot grill. It'll give you a fantastic bread to have with salad.
Have you ever made some pastry and then can't find the rolling pin? What better than perhaps using a bottle? Not any bottle because of its shape, but a claret bottle or a port bottle, nice and straight, filled with warm water. That makes it easier to roll out. With a cork in the top, stops the water coming out. A little flour stops it sticking. On with the bottle, and very easy, very quick, and so simple to do.
Now feel sure that you've all burnt custard in the bottom of a pan. A little tip here that ensures that you will never burn custard again. Take your pan and always put your sugar in first. Then add the milk. And place on the heat. Now feel sure that you'll never burn that pan and you'll never have to scrub another pan with milk burned in the bottom of it again.
Meringue making involves a lot of whisking, so to make it easier, we add a pinch of sugar at the beginning.